The FNCS Last Chance Global's first round 3 has just concluded. We now have 25 teams going through to the finals. We have a whole bunch of big teams who need the last land spot and quite a few teams who missed out. They now only have one final chance to make it to land. We also got to see what was going to happen when Moneymaker ran across Peterbot and it got very, very ugly. I also want to talk about the Eval Cup. I don't always talk about these, but we had Faxuty and Peterbot running it up, putting on one of the most insane performances I've seen from this duo. We also unfortunately had Clicks getting griefed a little bit, and I want to take a look at how the drop map is looking and whether I think teams like Mr. Savage can get the last land spots. There's a lot to talk about. Let's jump into it. I know I'm a day late to this one. I'm sorry. I had a bit of a family emergency yesterday. Had to deal with something with my daughter, so I couldn't record, but let's talk about it today. What happened with the LCQ round 3? Remember, the top 25 teams from this round go straight through to the finals for their last chance to make land. So any team that is not on this list, they have the last of the last chance. They have one more chance to make it a top 25 to be able to make it to land. And this lobby is already looking very stacked. I'll run through the whole list and then I'll talk about some teams I want to in a bit more detail. So first up, we have Rax and Yanis winning it all. Since Rax went to 0 ping, my man is looking very, very strong right now. Chino, Pablo, Chap, Flixie, Velo and Zynox, Swizzy and Pixie, Wazza and Nova, Dam Damus, Skyjump, Zhu, Shura and Fincheck, Vidil and Pradaj, Blaha and SnozQ, Nebs and Nathan, Prism Casper, Akira Podesai, Hari Kami, Mr. Savage and Truly, Focus and Thomas, Marius and Fredoxy, Nefrizzi and Vanya, Dinus and Frantic, Seti and Yapko, Alba and Una, Axforce Bevies, Doom Matisse, and Huddy Fishy, with Sayaz and Scary just missing out in top 26. Now, that is an unbelievably stacked lobby. I really hope we get as many good pros in the next 25 as this, because this finals is shaping up to be ridiculous. You will notice, though, we are missing some big teams. We have no Sky Scroll, no Sharktini, no Vico Malabuka, and way more. This is not an easy qualification to make. Mr. Savage and Truly managed to clutch it up. If you look at their match history, they got a 14 elim win. They got 3 seconds and 8. They played really well, and they weren't even 30 points clear of qualifying. There is some huge teams that missed out on both regions that really need to clutch up now on the last round. Now, remember, teams that are already qualified to land are able to play in this round. It does mean if they qualify in the finals, if they get top 2 or whatever, it will keep rolling down past them. And luckily for Savage and Savage fans right now, 9 of the 25 teams that just qualified already have a land spot. Meaning, at this point, top 10 could get the land spot for a team like Savage, and that's not even without the other 9 teams that could get added. Remember, there's 18 teams on EU qualified to Globals right now. Half of them just made it in the top 25. That is very, very good for any team you're cheering on here who still needs a land spot. Taking a look at the drop map, nothing too spicy just yet, but this is the advantage of qualifying first. You get to mark the drop map first. We have Mr. Savage and Truly giving up Sanctuary, and instead Marius and Fredoxy are now claiming it. So Savage and Marius have hit like a little switch. In Grands, it was the opposite way around. They've now switched drops. We have Dam and Damus down at Sunken. Chino Pablo have claimed Sinister. Folks and Thomas are at Harbor. We have Swizzy Pixie claiming all of Battlewood. Nebs, Nathan and mid-map. Chap and Flixie over at the Grove. Pretty much all the drops you would kind of expect from these teams. We do have some teams getting a bit ambitious. Alba and Una, again, I gas up Alba a bunch on this channel. She is phenomenal. I'm very happy to see she's picked up another good duo. Her last duo actually switched regions. They were looking crazy. They went to Middle East. I thought Alba might be stranded without a duo, but Una came in clutch and they're looking good, but they're trying to claim Lifty. Now, I'm guessing they're doing this in an attempt to hope that Vico Malabuka don't make finals. If they do make the finals, I have a feeling they will leave this drop spot. It's kind of a smart play, just hoping that they don't do it. Vico Malabuka have been a bit inconsistent right now, and with them not needing the Globals land spot, maybe they will get complacent and not try as hard. It does mean, though, if they make finals, they'll probably switch drops because Vico Malabuka can just grief them as they don't need the land spot. Taking a look at NA, it's still a stacked lobby, but maybe not some of the teams you would have been expecting. Some really big teams missed out. Going through the list, we have Sineto and Neo, Josh and Iomzo, Shadow Virgo, Higgs Curve, Noise and Wallahi, Dolzier, Ishu, Skittles and Jace, Cyros and Bubba, Mirops and QK, Ages Veno, Harvey and Minish, Clicks and Rapid, Cade and Realize Eel, I can never say this guy's name, Sphinx and Curly, I Am Enough and Doxy, Visuals Threats, Vertify and Barnier West, Dash and Noxy, Diego and Ultra, Hausen Restre and Cryzix, Evan and Xander, Max and Smiley, G-Money and Void, Reet and Cooper, and Kaki and Volt. So again, probably a lot more underrated teams on NA than the EU list. Still some really big names in there. Obviously, you have Josh, you have Shadow, you have Clicks, you have Harvey. Some really solid teams, but you probably noticed there's a lot of big names in there missing. Peterbot and Poyo probably being the biggest name that's missing there, and you're probably thinking, Aussie, oh, they were just too busy griefing Moneymaker and Fanayan, and kind of, but I'll get to that in a second. So they came out the gates with a 4 Elam 37th, not too great, but then a 22 Elam 3rd, a 96-point game. I'm thinking, all right, that's it. They're popping off right now. They're top 12. They're looking good for the qual, and it went really downhill. 46th, 45th, 29th, 32nd, 50th, 14th, 32nd, 27th. They just kept going further down leaderboard. Now, they did at one point get a bit of revenge and payback on Moneymaker. While I'm sure that did feel good, that was the only time Pete got in Moneymaker's game. It really wasn't the reason why Peterbot didn't qualify, and I will point out it wasn't really the reason that Moneymaker didn't qual either, because they came 108th. Moneymaker was nowhere near qualifying whether they went down to Peterbot or not here. So Pete has made it clear if he finds Moneymaker, he is going to play extra aggressive to make sure he takes him down. But it wasn't quite the full-blown, like, you know, Q sniping that I think a lot of the Pete fans were hoping for a bit of revenge. I will say, though, with the way Money was playing, it wasn't necessary. So in this next round of qualifiers, potentially, we might see Peterbot try to be a bit more active, or he might just try and lock in and get the qual so he can then potentially take Moneymaker down if he makes the finals. Of the 12 already land qualified teams on NA, 6 of them did just make this finals. So just like EU, half of the overall qualified teams are here. So it is looking like a good lobby, and it does mean teams that need that land spot will have that extra chance of getting a roll down. But right now, I would say the NA lobby isn't as stacked as I was hoping, but I'm expecting the NA round 2 to be very exciting. I think the second set of rounds will get a lot of those big teams up in the finals we are expecting, because a lot of them were quite close on leaderboard. They just kind of fell off a little bit towards the end. It does now mean that on both regions, the winners and second place did not make it to finals yet, showing this is a pretty tough round of Fortnite. Taking a look at the drop map, it's all pretty much standard to be expected. Clicks and Rapid are going Sanctuary. We do actually have contested Heatwave Harbor, and funny enough, it's not Shadow Virgo. We have Sphinx and Curly going up against Josh and Iomzo. Now remember, Sphinx and Curly need the land spot, Josh and Iomzo don't. You're probably wondering, where's Shadow Virgo? They've actually gone to the car wash split, and the reason why they're doing that is Shadow and Virgo are preparing for globals. They're practicing this drop for globals, which I think is smart in some ways, but with how much money is on the line in this finals, I do wonder if this is the best play. With them being now double conned, if they went Heatwave, whether there be 3 teams there, they're probably better off just taking an uncon split anyway. But I wonder if Shadow Virgo stayed there, if Sphinx and Josh wouldn't have even tried to go there, and Shadow Virgo would have a better chance to make some of the money, seeing as the map will most likely be changing next season anyway. But that was their choice to leave. Sphinx and Josh is going to be very interesting to watch. We have Ages and Veno claiming North Battlewood. They've left their previous drop spot because, again, Triple Con Latte wasn't that great. They don't even want to try to go Latte with no one going there right now. They'd much rather claim a better drop. We have Higgs and Curve going Lifty like they did in Grands. Reed and Cooper over at Wonky Land. Pretty much all the teams going the spots we would expect based on who went where in Grands. But we do have some teams trying to pre-claim drops like I talked about with Alba, and seeing whether they can pull that off in case a big team doesn't qualify. Speaking of new season, we are starting to get a few leaks. I do want to make a video talking about the new season, but I kind of want to make an entire video on that. I'll make it more focused into a video rather than just kind of sticking at the end of this video. So that will be coming soon. Don't worry. I am very, very excited for the new season. Haven't been talking about NA West too much since the Pro-Am kind of content ended, but I do want to shout out Kanata and Ark, who did qualify in the top 25 on West. It got a little bit dicey. They ended up just getting it done right at the very end, and Kanata actually had to hide his stream because he was getting targeted by other West teams trying to knock him out of the qual. So Kanata and Ark are looking good to hopefully take the last spot on West, but we'll have to see. Though so far things are looking a little bit dicey. Taking a look at the EU Eval finals, we had 4 big teams taking the wins, looking good coming into this LCG finals. We had Ping and Panzer, a brand new duo that has now formed. The Panzer and Yapko have split. I have been a big hater of Panzer Yapko, just like I have with Chap and Flixie, not because I don't like the players, but because I love the players and I want them to see them do better. And that's what we're now seeing with Ping and Panzer. They got a 4 Elam 13th, a 3 Elam 12th, nothing too crazy, but then 11 kills second and a 6 kill win, being the best team in the Eval finals, their first proper tournament together. Focus Thomas also looking really good though, a 5 Elam win and a 10 Elam second. Marius and Froxy coming out with an 8 Elam win and a 3 Elam fifth, and then Cringe and Twy with a 2 Elam 8th, a 6 Elam win and a 2 Elam 8. So a few teams finding a lot of consistency in the current format. Rax and Yanis doing very, very well as well. Chino and Pablo getting an 8 Elam third, but it's an Eval Cup. I won't freak out too much. One team I will get excited for about an Eval Cup is Faxuty and Peterbot, who decided to queue up the NAC Opens. They played phenomenally. They got a 6 elim 9th, a 9 elim 6th, a 10 elim 4th, and then coming into the last game, they needed like a 75-ish point game to qualify, which is basically like a 10 kill win, and this happened. Nice.
30.
Nice.
150.
Never mind.
I'm trying.
Nice.
Step back. In the cone. Why?
Oh my god. We're almost done. Come on.
No, we don't. Shock up. Wait. Come here. How many maps do you have? I have 5 builds. I have. Drop.
Nice.
I'm using mid. Get a slower, kid.
Get a slower, kid.
No, shock. Ready? Jump. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, nice. No, that's fine. That's actually really good. Only 2 ticks. That was perfect. Oh my god, if they win.
No way.
No. There's 11 points left. That's 281 if they win this. There's 281 if they win. Wait, 2 is enough?
We did it, baby.
I don't think on the kills. That's got to be enough. Surely that's enough.
Oh my god.
He collateraled them.
Out, baby.
Unfortunately, as exciting as that was, as phenomenal as that finish was, they ended up falling short by 1 single point. It was a 9 kill win and they needed 10. Honestly, I cannot give enough credit to Faxuty throughout this whole tournament. My man has really well and truly leveled up in the last month. His awareness is looking amazing. He's listening to Pete, and shout out to Peterbot. That is the most calm I've ever heard Peterbot play with Faxuty. And you could tell that's why Faxuty wanted to make the finals so badly. He finally got to play with Peterbot, not trolling him. He was giving good comms, he was IGLing him, he was respecting Fax's decisions, and honestly, they looked really, really solid. Super unfortunate to see it come down that close. I would have loved to see this team in the finals, but I do really want to give a huge shout out to Fax and how much he's improved as a player over the last month. It's been very fun to watch. Peterbot again, I'm not sure why he didn't want to play with Pollo. I don't think there's any drama there. I wouldn't freak out. It didn't look like there was any beef. I'm pretty sure they were actually all in a call before NA started. They were just chatting. I think probably one of them suggested a play, and Pollo was like, yeah, I'll just go play with Aegis. Veno's not playing anyway. So before you look too much into it, Peterbot and Pollo aren't beefing. They're not freaking out because they sold grands. I think they just decided to have some fun because they never take the Eval Cups that seriously anyway. The finals ended up being quite interesting. Honestly, it was probably one of the least stacked Eval finals we've had on NA. It was fun to watch, but there was a bunch of teams I wouldn't expect to be in there. Unfortunately, we had Clicks getting griefed by multiple teams I've never heard of. It got a little bit messy, but I do want to shout out the winners. We had Dolzier and Isho take a 4 elim win. Cringe and Frosty, yes, Europeans taking a 6 elim win after getting a 3rd the game before. Boji and Electro got a 9 kill win. I hope we get an Electro video on that one. And then Jagu and Carillion taking the win in last game with a 4 elimination win.